So these are stocks that had more volume today than yesterday. First one's AEO. Let's clear this. And again, we're just here to analyze real quick, nothing crazy. If you guys are new to the scanner channel, what these are is he bases a lot of them off of patterns, but there's a whole lot more variables than just searching for a pattern. He puts I don't even know all of them myself, that's how many he puts on them. There's a lot of variables, but he shoves a lot of volume, a lot of liquidity, so we don't have to worry about playing tickers with low liquidity or looking at most of the time. You'll still see a couple filter through there, but most of the time it should be good. But what's really awesome about these scanners is it's kind of a gimme kind of setup, so at first you are kind of having to go analyze a lot of your watch list by yourself. Figure out what do you want to look at, analyze the trends, analyze what patterns are on what side of the trend, and then go off of that, make your trade plan and go. But now you can kind of use this scanner channel. You can go in there, look through his amazing work, really, and he breaks down what each of them are, what they do, and everything. And he's actually been posting tons of more info than I even asked him to post. So, if anything, Raul is being amazing with how much he's posting in there. So, definitely go back through and back test some of the scanners on the days he posted them. Just see what patterns were there, see how they played out, and it'll really help you visualize a lot better. But let's get into this, break down some of those. I'm not really liking the AEO. I do like that it's breaking into this range, or holding in this range with rising sellers now. So you can start to look under this 33 for a bigger drop. But until it's out of that range, it isn't going to go much further. So I'd look, one, for puts, you're going to want it to break this here, but also that big 33. A pickup with lowering sellers soon would be nice for recovery, but have to see that here in a couple days. They definitely need a little more price history there. AMC's on here, I'm not even going to bother. CGC's on here, breaking lower, not really much to cover there. As you can see, an accumulation in volume, that's what the scanner is. Let's go through a couple more. CHPT, I actually know of this company, ChargePoint. Pickup and sellers, which this would actually go well with my BLNK analysis. I went to the weekly analysis because towards the end of the week, about Thursday, Friday, you should start to check your weekly time frame more. It sets you up for more bigger setups. And when you play the weekly time frame, of course, you're going to most likely be holding positions longer. You'll end up getting way bigger moves from these positions. So what I'm going to be looking for is under this trend line, but also under the 28s here in the near future, if I ever get that. What I did was go down to the 4-hour, ended up marking a way better line here instead of just on the weekly where it's kind of ugly. But I got from about there, where we end up pushing up, the retest of that wick, the bigger retest here, and now you can see prices started retracing there with relatively lowering volume. So actually approaching there as a support right now. It still isn't looking, super bearish. That's good. You want to see under average volume as it's approaching this trend line. DIA was on here, which is the Dow. Of course, we're not gonna call that. But very nice to see a pickup in buyers over the last 2 days as it's trying to hold this what looks like a bullish continuation. As you can see, I have the highest close from the left side over here. Let's mark this one, and that's really all you have. So let's break down the 50% control point. Is it above it? It is. So all I did there was I just marked from right here to the top of the meat of the bone, just getting the range of this last move here. As you can see, price pushed up, had a red day, gapped up, had a red day, gapped down, had a green day, but we're still sitting above the crucial level on all three of these candles of that 50% control point. So that emerging candle and the 50% control point is where you can expect control. So buyers are on top of it, you expect bulls double confirm with the old resistance. Sellers take over, you sell to here, you expect further drop under that level. So you always have a plan when you move further with those. So Dow Jones broken down. We just broke down all three, SPY, NASDAQ, and Dow in this stream. What's else on here? Honeywell, we already saw that. JKS, we saw that earlier. We just covered mRNA. That's cool though. He's adding in different scanners that aren't just patterns, so you can, just for informative stuff. Those aren't, not everything he's going to post is going to be get in, get out type plays. So it's super helpful to look at that. Barry just posted something golden. Two black crows, both near resistances, broke that 50% control point of that huge emerging candle. I'm going to clear mine. I already see what he's talking about. Right here. Amazing, man. He's already utilizing that info quick. Mark my other emergings. Mark this one. This one. Mark this gap that's never been filled. And now you have three amazing targets below price. And another thing is it's closing under, which is the 50% control point, so it's perfect that it works out to hold this bullish rectangle here. And by the way, that is still a bullish rectangle. The fact that it held the 50% control point with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days is a bullish rectangle. So that's very amazing to see. Ends up doing a morning star at the bottom of it too before it did a little gap up there, so that's awesome. Evening star, slowdown, bearish engulfing, slowdown, doji continuation, bearish engulfing. Now you're finally getting confirmation after all this combination of pattern right here. 1, 2, 3 things happen, 4 things happen. Now you're finally getting a fifth. There's 5 patterns right there. That's crazy. There's 8 candles, 5 patterns. That's insane. If you could mark all 5 patterns, you're amazing. That's crazy. Very nice find though. Barry just found a really good one. I like that a lot because it's a good bearish pattern after a few have already popped up. And it's closing under a 50% control point. So CRWD actually looks really good if it can hold under 250s. So that's gonna look really good. Good find, Barry. It's a big gem there. We didn't have too many to look back on. I'll go to the rival scanners and look at it back myself. Here it is. Oh, that's right. We had apps on here too. And apps worked out. So pretty much everything we covered worked out yesterday, even if it was only for a small gain or you end up taking a small loss like on Etsy. Etsy was really the only one that was weird like that though. So apps, we were saying off of the retracement because you kind of have a bear flag going here, which is awesome because you have relatively low volume. As it cracks this new low is what we were looking at yesterday on apps. No, we didn't end up taking this trade, but we were just kind of covering a bunch of trade plans. Of course, we can't enter everything we look at, but APPS ended up going very well under that. So let's look at the smaller time frames too. Get our previous day low marked. That's insane to see that. Support, where price launched from. 40% entry after a retest, and then you got another retest with the wick. Very, very impressive, just from the last 4 days. But as you can see, yes, you would have probably had to hold through some roughness there if you didn't end up just taking, which you probably wouldn't have been up right there at all. Price ended up coming back down, retesting that bigger trend line we marked from that other low. And then you can see you finally have your retest under that level of that previous day low. So now you'd finally be making gains on your APPS trade. But remember, not all these trades are going to be, just an overnight swing. You got to remember, if you go through a lot of our videos, you'll see a lot of the time you're looking at these patterns. This is what changes the trend. So let's go look at Apple. Apple's a great example. I love looking at Apple. All right, so you already have it ready. Bearish and gold. All right, so what I'm going to cover here is all the patterns that are on each side of this trend line, and then I want you to see that patterns are not just an overnight swing opportunity. Patterns are also what turn trend around. So yes, over time you have to go through a lot of redness to even see that kind of stuff. As you can see, let's go off this example here. So let's say you're looking down at this and you're like, oh, I kind of like this has like a morning star look to it. It has a gap here and a gap here, but it already has the morning star look to it right here, right? So if you're basing patterns off of what changes the trend, you're expecting this to be what takes price back up to the top of the trend, correct? So let's break down how it did that. Price ended up gapping up more, so you got some more bullish momentum. So you got rising buyer, average volume again, so you're definitely going to slow down. You did slow down, so it's just a big range trade right there. This is all part of trend analysis too. When I'm covering that KO chart, I'll relink that video, but when I'm covering that KO chart, you could see, when you're going through these, you start to see a lot more stuff in there. So yes, this is an uptrend, but what else is in here? There's a downtrend right here. There's a range right here. There's another uptrend right here. Price takes it back up. Guess what? Another range. So you got to kind of analyze it in that manner. So I'm looking for bullish candlesticks right here. As it finally range trades, of course I have to wait. There's going to be some base build here because buyers take forever. It's not my fault, but we have to wait on it. So look where it ends up going. It ends up 100% retracing and then giving us another gap up over a control point. That's very awesome. And then guess what? The control point of this little range, I know is going to get very annoying, ends up closing over. So again, you're just confirming more and more and more, understanding the price action very thoroughly. As you can see, each candle that goes up, the volume started changing. So right there, lowering, popped. Oh, as it's over that control point, bam, big spike over volume. That shows you something like, yo, there's buyers here. It's going up. Continues uptrend. Very slow, retraces to that trend line again. So that's when you start to get that angle going. But I mean, it was easy for me to Captain Hindsight it and mark it because all these candles are here already. But of course, live it's going to be a lot different. But always go back through and always remark your trend lines. I trust me, trend lines are your pattern's best friend because that trend line is going to help you discover that pattern. I'm not joking too, because you end up looking at this. You have a very good parabolic move, the initial parabolic move. You get the initial parabolic sell-off. That's its 100% retracement. You're at square one again. Uptrend, no range trade really. Downtrend, range trade, uptrend. Range trade, went up to hit the trend line again. That's what made your trend line really. You didn't have that before. And again, that ties into, being Captain Hindsight. It's very easy for me to go over here and say, oh, this looks very bearish. Well, yeah, it's been here, so it's easy for me to say that. Of course, in real time, you wouldn't be able to do that. But what do we know in real time? We know that in real time, wicks on top at a very good angle like that, in which has already formed. So let's say we did end up drawing a line from here to here. That would be a good spot for you to see wicks. And at any time, it doesn't matter if it's randomly up there. The fact that it has been moved up at a very good buy up off of buyer volume, you got your reset candle here. Yes, it's time to either keep going up or keep going down. So that fact that you're seeing wicks on top is a very big notice against the same resistance. So big teller there. So that really would have been your confirmation, was really just the outside of these candles. Very small range, as you can see, but sometimes it happens like that. But please go back through your charts and really try to visualize. I'm not saying go through and make it pretty. You can see this isn't really the prettiest of screens, but truly analyze it. Try to visualize what's there. You can see there was a drop, base, another rise, got another range trade here, another drop, range trade, slow build up off of the trend line, and then it built up for pretty good run. As you can see on the weekly here, it was up 7 weeks now, 7 weeks in a row. So that's pretty big. That's about 20% of their cost. So that's pretty cool. But I hope that was kind of helpful, and I did actually record a lot of this. But let's go through some of y'all's stuff now. ET is back sub 10 range. Yep, sadly. Which, this was expected to Devo, because when we played Fang, that's an energy stock. So I'm expecting ET to go down when we're playing Fang. So I'm actually kind of bearish on Fang. I want it to go down to its trend line. Just coming here on the weekly time frame, I think I can agree to the same analysis here on ET. So let's say I grab a more sharp trend line. Price is pretty close to it. So this was a needed retracement. Now you're going to be focusing on that trend line. Let's go to the daily. Just kind of got that number going. So this is where you're going to start seeing this. So you can also look for that downtrend change too. You get that. This is where it gets tricky. You never want to mark the gaps. I see that price dropped here, gapped up, held, dropped, held, then gapped down. So, but that's already been there. Now that I have these two, I wanted to connect two non-gaps just so I have a good strong trend line. You can see it broke under that with rising above average volume. So yeah, I would say it retraces a little bit further. You might even see a gap down that ends up having a low volume day tomorrow on ET. That's where I would say the highest probability chances for this is that it has another red day but low volume after a gap down. And then we can start to see, do we like that? Let's grab some emerging candles in the area though, so we're not just flying blind. And see, there's a good gap range here that's never actually been filled. So maybe it's going to do that number, 920s. But good job, Devo. I'm glad you're staying on top of that. I've been seeing you mention it. Every time you mention it, I promise you, I've gone and looked at it, just so I keep it kind of in my head where it's at. But it also helps when we're playing stocks that are similar to it, like Fang. So now I kind of have that in my head. Like, oh yeah, I'm bearish on energy short term. Starbucks. Let's check out Starbucks. Oh, Burhan, I see what you're saying. Is this what you're saying, Burhan? Because I said the close thing? That's really big on the weekly. I'm not even on the daily. That's crazy. Oh. This is still 50-50 though, because you haven't even broken it yet. But damn, that looks so good. Because it's an evening star. It's got that decent above average volume. I see this as a 50-50 setup still. Because it almost looks like a bull flag on top of a big support, but at the same time it's an evening star. Very good volume there, and then it's almost like a reset candle. This is definitely the only level that you need marked on the chart, though. 118.40s, and then probably the 50% of this entire, because we gapped up to there. Yeah, so I'm going to just go to this candle. Got some good extension under it too. Definitely, definitely been bought up. I know I grabbed an ugly line, but what I'm saying is it is definitely overextended from its trend line. I mean, look how many green days it just had. That's definitely a high probability setup once it's under that level, though. And again, you know, that's why I always tell people that you don't always have to just get in early. You can also just wait, get that confirmation, and play that BB system. You know that under this previous day low, which look where it bounced today, that bigger level. So above, you know, below 118, that's gonna look amazing. Yeah, I was about to say, Burhan, I'm pretty sure you were on top of that. You were calling that. Hold up, let me try to see where you called that. Pretty sure it's down here. I'm trying to figure out which candle. I almost wanted to say this one for some reason. The 115 area. Oh, okay. Break of that. That looked good. And then you got that retest. Real quick for the recording, let me go back through a couple of the. I know you already heard this. Let me go back through a couple of the swings we took the other day, just for anybody who wasn't here. So the other day we ended up taking Fang on the bot for about 20% gains. First contract sold for about 10 to 11% in gains. But the biggest TA on this was the supporting trend line. We ended up getting an 80% entry here with the bearish engulfing as it made a new low under that level. So we ended up taking good puts over that, or under that, sorry. Ended up taking 10% at open pretty much. The rest of our contracts we ended up holding as it went under 82.70s. We ended up scaling out. But as you can see, it went down to those 81.30s and worked out very well. So if you happen to take that Fang trade, awesome. I'm just kind of going through these quick because I already kind of told everyone this in the stream, so I don't want to annoy them. As you can see, price gap down on this supporting trendline on Piton. This is also one of the few that we covered in here. And then today we're getting another red day, so let's look at that on the smaller time frames. So you end up getting not just in the stop loss we set was 115. Perfectly rejected our stop loss with lowering buyer volume. Very awesome to see. But when it came back down, what our confirmation for further drop was not just the pre-market low, but also now our opening price low, this base support here. So under 110s, we're looking really, really good. And as you can see, it ended up tanking, gave us a bear flag all the way to the 108. So Piton paid big. That contract went from like 300 something, I think it was like 320s to 6 something. So very big gains, you can see, very awesome. The other one we ended up covering, and it was a small loss if you ended up holding too long. But again, I could see why you would have. The only chance you had on this was pretty much opening candle as it ended up dropping. The very first few minutes of market open, we ended up taking like 4 or 5%. So I'm not going to sit here and be Captain Hindsight. But right now, it also still isn't looking bullish, or it isn't looking back to bullish either. It's still just kind of square one after our analysis. So you're still going to be looking under 181 for a further drop. If you already kind of cut your losses and are looking for a good day trade on it tomorrow, that's what I'd be watching, is under 181 or above this 186 in which we rejected. So that's going to be pretty awesome. Let's get back into what you guys were looking at. Oh, sorry. Hey, one of you said BBY, and that's on the top of the scanner. So this scanner is going to be piercing line, bullish engulfing. So his next one is going to be dark cloud covers and bearish engulfing. So we're just going to kind of run through them and see which ones you like the most, based on trend line, positioning, and what pattern. So of course you're going to want to start with your trend lines. We see there's a pretty basic one there, pretty basic one there. So we're just getting a not an amazing drawing, just kind of get a bland, drawing around it so you can get a good look at it. And as you can see, we're on the bottom side of this trend. Very nice, with a bullish pattern. That's what you want to look for at the bottom of those trends. So this is actually looking pretty good. I don't know if I like that wick on top as much. That is a very big sign of very heavy sellers right here. As you can see, it's perfectly against that. So it looks like if it doesn't close above 111.30s, this is going to be a faulty play. Would definitely leave this alone. But another very cool thing is that it's a higher low. Since it dropped out of that trend, it made a higher low from there with the same pattern. Morning star, confirming candle, confirming candle. But this moved higher. This has not moved higher. This is waiting to get above that staircase. You also have the 50% control point of this bigger red candle to watch out for. So that's what you're going to be looking out for on BBY. Next one is Burke B. I don't like the positioning of that. We're just going to leave that how it is. Fiserv. Actually, this one might be decent. I say that because of this. The trend change. Volume is not all the way there. You do want to have volume on your spiking candle that breaks out. Let's see, did that hold to 50%? This is going to be kind of scary if it did. Looks like Fiserv is a really good swing. This is the confirming candle, so Fiserv would actually be a pretty good one. If someone wants to type up a trade plan for that, feel free to. I'll probably come back to that and see what's up. Let me add that to my little list here, so we can go back to that. Next one on the list is Guild. I don't like the positioning of that. It's actually not as bad, but I feel like if you just go look at CVS or J&J analysis from Harland or whoever ended up posting that, you would probably appreciate those setups more. I don't know if I like that GILD as much. See, UNH is actually trying to hold a bullish candle at a bullish spot. Not as awesome as if it was, down here at the bottom, but whoops, didn't mean to do that. Meant to do that. As you can see, it's actually still holding that, so that's a pretty good setup too. Big confirmation over 421. So UNH, another big solid plan. Bullish engulfing, I'm sorry, not a bullish engulfing, a bullish piercing line. Actually, that's on his list too, cool. So we have Gilead on there, we have UNH, so a couple in the same sector. Let's look at IBM. You don't know which one you like better, Amazon or Shop? I was just posting them because I want people to at least day trade them tomorrow. Because this is a really, really big level for support if it ends up holding for bulls. It's a very big level in which we're going to drop from very heavily to 35.60, as you can see. So there's a good 40, 50, almost $60 drop if we end up holding under that. Shop, why I like it is because it's already under that level. But again, I think I chose this one on the weekly. Yep. I like that it's trying to hold that. But a big thing that I ended up marking was the 50% of this candle and kind of the 50% of this candle and the range. So I end up getting this little range here that price will most likely head to since we have all these wicks sitting on top. There's a really big tail there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a bunch of candles, and 4 of them are very, very long. 1, 2, 3 of which are longer than the body that they are even connected to. So I would say I like Shop more in comparison to Amazon and Shop, but again, I mainly wanted to post those for people to day trade tomorrow. So regardless if you swing or not, awesome. But I just want to at least put that on people's screens. But good take, though. You've been killing those. You're an Amazon? Alright. Yeah, that's definitely not a bad one. I think I saw your trade plan, actually. Microsoft and UPS. Yeah, Microsoft definitely extended lowering buyer volume. Definitely not crazy to see that. Definitely not looking to enter anything on that for swings wise. Day trades, you could keep applying your BB system. You're gonna get tons of levels on that. UPS I ended up marking up this morning. Someone asked me as well. We could gap range here on the weekly, and we look like we're trying to create a lower high, but also hold over the 50% control point. Harlan? Oh, my bad. Just someone was echoing, so I had to look. So we actually have a lower high being made here so far. Trying to hold the 50% control point, it looks like. Look at that on the daily. Actually, looks like it's trying to hold support on that. Lowering volume above it. That's pretty good. We'll have to see, though. I'm definitely not a big UPS trader. Also, make sure to check out Analyst Analysis if you guys haven't. Harlan's posted a ton of also other really good side watches, so if you don't end up liking some of the tickers I end up posting, make sure to check his out. He's got tons. But let's keep going through a couple of these scanners. Actually, don't unclear that. Hey, our plan worked. The other day we were saying 2 Black Crow after a 80% retest. So actually Lowe's was one of the ones that we hadn't gone back and reviewed. As you can see, we had a Morning Star after breaking trend line, bearish engulfing against that same trend line. So that's telling you retest for bears. Day ends up dropping. So it's a 2 Black Crow, looking good for at least another day of continuation. As you can see, we end up gapping down. So initially, Lowe's would have been really, really good for a swing, but as you can see, ended up instantly pumping back up. Buyers definitely wanted that back up off the ground. As you can see, they didn't just take it up; they ended up holding the retracement as well, even with a higher low. It's very nice to see. So that one doesn't look like we can call up any new alerts on it. It definitely looks like buyers are trying to take it back up. If this had a bigger amount of volume, if this was up here and it was the size of that candle, that would make a lot more sense. But those don't match up. So I want to see an over average volume for buyers to truly take this over the 195.80s. That is where you'd be looking for confirmation. As you can see, that's the high of day. So this could technically still be owned by 100% bears. So definitely be looking out for that. That could be a really, really huge 80% entry, really. So definitely gonna have to check this out tomorrow. That could be really, really awesome to see. So let's see Nike. That's the next one on the list. Damn, I can't talk. Bullish engulfing, definitely not a good spot. Change it. Sherwin-Williams, definitely not a decent spot. Change it. TMO, again, not an amazing spot, but it's better. I did that level, by the way, because that was a big emerging candle held with candles. Just since then, it just kept pushing up. So if I get any retracement of this, I want to see the 50%. It's actually trying to hold above the 50%. So this looked like it was going to take it down. It did, and now it's holding. So this kind of reminds me of the other chart. You really need another candle or two on that. Give you more confirmation. UAVS, finally, one that isn't like near the sky. It's on the ground. Star, Harami. Star with an engulfing after. Star. Harami. Confirmation candle after Harami. That's again, if you ever end up playing Haramis with me, I'm almost 100% of the time just gonna wait for the next day because Haramis affect me out too many times. Just gonna wait for the next day confirming candle. That 100% ruins that problem. So very happy for that. Bearish engulfing, 2 Black Crow, end up holding range, dropping lower, large wick. Dropped again. Picked up again. Definitely not looking good there. And now we have a bullish engulfing at that same support. So it looks like above 420s, UAVS is looking really, really good. Again, would prefer a spike in volume or a confirming candle if you want to play a more passive, more for sure win. Because if that ends up rejecting, you're definitely going to be able to play a new low type play, an open range breakout under that 404. Pretty much 4 flat. So that's what I'd be looking on that. We already covered UNH. Last one on this that I could see is XPEV. And I definitely am not going to be looking to long this as we just covered a bunch of bearish analysis on a bunch of other stocks that are in relation to this one. Let's look at the bearish one now. He has Apple, Netflix, QCOM, Target, and then T-Mobile. So look at those 5 real quick. And make sure to post your own charts too, guys, in the post setups channel. If you guys want to post, just an example of a pattern you spot from the scanners, please do so. It helps others as well. But a big thing too is if you want to hold yourself accountable, there's a bunch of levels to that. You want to type out a trade plan for it, awesome. But it really helps out other people kind of visualize what's going on. And you too. I mean, you posting that is awesome. Definitely not looking too hot with what looks like a. I'm sorry. What'd you say? Is a tweezer top? Sorry, cut off my sentence. Can I cover beyond the daily chart is looking interesting? No problem. I actually need to reset mine because I was doing something earlier. I always mark this gap range every time, no matter what. Oh, and look, current price is right next to that line. Isn't that awesome? I can almost skip everything I was doing. Let's Let's just look at this real quick, see if we see any other candles. It's a pretty good strong resistance there. Nothing much more. Gotta mark that support, definite. Man, as I was just saying, I'm the type that likes to confirm Haramis. So it filled this gap. And now we have a bullish Harami after this drop down. Average low, low volume all the way down. You see this line's coming down. The 30 had to come down just to make that look like average volume. Let's see the smaller time frame real quick. And now trend line. So we played a bunch of stuff off of Beyond lately. Did a couple of double Haramis down there. We had our kicker there, because this is a kicker signal. You have your red day, price ended here. Next day gaps up, starts entirely over the previous candle. It's a bullish kicker, very bullish. Gap up, gap up, gap up. 100% retracement of that move, of this move here. Held the 50% control point. We played the morning star right here. We got that gap up. Ended up having another reset day to another move up. I think we tried it twice actually right here. And we've had a sell-off since then. Looks like a drop base drop. Really not even that much of a base. As you can see, it just kind of held for 3 days. Didn't make a new high after it gapped up. Made a new low after 4 days. Bearish Marabuzzo just about. And now you're getting a what can be a one of two things on the night. Now that I've gone through that way, is that could be a bullish Harami or a continuation doji. So that is why I say you should watch for a confirmation candle, because this could just be another reset day tomorrow in which you just kind of trade between that gap range. So one, yes, you should add Beyond to your day trade watch list. Two, those are the scenarios I'd be watching. Confirmation candle, it's what you want. I don't joke about that stuff. You guys have seen many times that those work out. So anytime you see a setup that's it's not totally there yet, wait for that. That's what you're watching? Alright, awesome. I hope that TA was, elaborate enough. I was kind of also covering times we've taken trades and then also different patterns I've seen while going across it. But yeah, that's one of two scenarios that's going to happen there. And again, we're just breaking down the probabilities. And that's what you're doing by breaking down the price action. You're going through your mergings, your trend lines, what's around price. You're getting around price, gripping around it, and then seeing what patterns are inside. And then you can take your probabilities. Yeah, but trust me though, I would definitely be looking at this. Need some confirmation? Alright, so you were right on target then, man. Good stuff. I'm glad to see you saying that too, because you've been in a lot of these. You should know that just as well as me. I'm nothing special. You're doing just as much hard work as I am. So that's what we'll be looking at, a confirmation candle tomorrow. But that does look good, so you're starting to see the potential of what can happen. Nice, nice. All right, let's go through more of these scanner plays. Sorry, couldn't think. I was actually looking at this earlier, and I'm very glad to see that it has more volume. Again, the only thing that's messing with me is this earnings next week. But damn, am I bearish on Netflix. I like that we have this gap range here that we've been fighting for like 3 months. Price is up to it again finally and has that bearish engulfing. So I would definitely expect, or it's not a bearish engulfing yet, it's a dark cloud cover. I would definitely expect retracement. So I'm going to draw a trend line on the 4 hour, and I'm going to draw my midpoint of this, and I also want to draw the midpoint of the range, and then one more midpoint of here to here. A lot of midpoints. So that's what I'm going to do real quick. So we can go from here to here. So that is high probability of where you can expect this to range trade back to. So you can expect it to 529. Let's remove that. I'm going to do the previous day candle because we're talking about a dark cloud cover here. Let's at least get the midpoint of it so we know it to see what for rejection. As you can see, a previous candle hit it already. And then one more of the recent move, sorry. So from opening price here, I'm moving up. I'm going to the high of the move of the buyers. So I just want to see that there. So there's a very, very big support actually at 537.60. So now I know a lot of the levels I need to look at. Let's go draw that trend line on the 4 hour and see what we can do. So you got kind of that rounding look to it. Got a kind of a sharp angle there. Yeah, I don't like that. Just get that gap up, and then this is really where it started going. Yeah, and I would say you look like you have some good retracement to at least this passive trend line. I'm just going from base of support here. 1, 2, 3, and I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can see there's a possible fifth popping up tomorrow down here in the mid of 529, 537. So very short term trade you could take there, but definitely nothing high probability like some of the other ones we've been confirming. QCOM's on here. Good short-term retracement, if anything. Bullish confirmation over that green candle you see there. Nothing crazy on that one. Target, that's a pretty good spot for a dark cloud cover at the top of a trend. You could definitely look at this tomorrow for a short-term retracement. Definitely be looking under that level there. It's a very big tall tail level there. And then TMUS. Hey, this actually looks pretty good. I wish it had a spike in volume, but so we had that bullish breakout, retest, push up. So yeah, it is probably just looking for a retracement pretty soon. But again, not as high probability. I would be looking for confirmation under that trend line. That is where this can really start to bleed. So we found a lot of really good potentials over the next few days. And yeah, I guess ZM does look good for continuation, which I've already called this out like 2 other times in the past few days. But it does still look good for more continuation, as it's still providing another black crow. As you can see, you have not one, but you have 2 black crow right here, but you have your bearish engulfing on that, which came after our range trade. So you kind of had initial trade, range trade, another drop, gap up, and now you're getting another black crow. So this could definitely lead to continuation under that 357 to the 346. So yeah, ZM puts look really good. Let's set up a trade plan for this. It's okay, Festus. We appreciate you for being here regardless. So let's do it next week at the money. So we'll do it next week, 355. Oh, whoops, I didn't even grab the cost. 760. Main target, we would say would be, let's say 350, because I like to do my psychs, and then 340, 650. So we'll just have 2 main targets, nothing crazy. And then stop loss. 361.75. And I grabbed that because I was kind of grabbing what this mid-range of this is, but I also kind of like that you have this support turn resistance as it's holding through there. It also lines up with that previous day. So if I mark that, look at my intraday, it should line up with something. Right here, yep. The pre-market high, perfect almost, besides that last candle popping up, but almost a perfect level. Yeah, so 361.75 would be a great stop loss. Just for this trade, Arcadia, I don't normally do that. If I was to do ZM, yes, I would trade it next week because I'm not planning on holding this over the weekend. I'm not planning on holding this long. If you're someone wanting to play this farther out, yes, of course, grab more time. But that would be my trade plan on ZM. Thank you, Harlan, for sending that over to me. Kaizen, they are not normally recorded, but today I happen to record it. So I hope you like that. I'm going to type out my... I'm going to type it in swing trading, Harlan. You're good, man. I was just letting you know. Alright, let's see who just tagged me in gains and losses. Okay, it's a good thing to tag me. Nice. Damn, man. You've been killing it. Here, wait, I'm going to look at what you did. Okay, you entered earlier, though. You're good. Whoops, I didn't mean to type that in there. I was going to look at his tan analysis now before the market closes. Hey, that's a good thing, Kaizen. Do not down anyone on that or yourself. I know that's not what you were saying, but I wish more people would paper trade. I'm not joking. You guys should paper trade a lot of these setups we do in here. Force yourself to feel what's going on. No, you will not have all emotions, in it, but still decent. You made 11% on Etsy? Nice. I just saw your message, Arcadia. Close right it open like I did. And you got a better percentage than I did. Y'all watch out for this Barry guy, man. Anytime he posts something, it's definitely informative. Not even about making money on his plays. I'm just talking about informative. It's very, very informative. I can't even read that other dude's chart. Yeah, 3D sector is probably going to take further retracement, David. I'm actually looking for further retracement on those. Actually, I need to check DM. DM, that's right, we're waiting on that one. I am expecting further retracement on them too. I kind of base a lot of my. I don't even go to that ARK ETF, dude. I've been looking at just DDD, like you said. My bad, man. I meant to go to TAN earlier. So it already broke trendline. We had that big pickup in volume, another pickup in volume. So you most likely will see a further retracement. Just haven't watched this near this huge 80-81 level. Okay, I see what you're looking for. Let me back mine out. A big thing with me too is like you got to remember the emotions that came behind that last rally. There was so much just greed on this rally. Like it just kept pouring in. You got to see how much we've actually retraced. We've only came down, tested the 50 once, and this is our second. I mean, really one, two. I mean, this is finally a second time that we may be coming down. One leg, range trade, two leg, range trade, maybe a third leg down to 71. Let's mark some emergings too. And that's why you keep hearing me say, I'm not entering today, I'm not entering this week on solar, and it's because I'm waiting for that. I don't care about missing out on these tiny rips when I'm going to get a 10 times that size move here in the future. So definitely going to be looking out for those bigger plays. We're going to be sizing in pretty heavily when we're back on solar. Made a lot of people money on that first run. I plan to do it again on the second time around. But again, I'm going to be patient. I know that how crazy that last run was, so got to kind of put that in your mind too. We've only really retraced down to the 51 time, which is an amazing spot to catch. Bullish engulfing as it broke a new high right there. Very amazing time to get back in, but we're going to get a way better setup on that very soon. But yeah, I agree with you. I think some short-term retracement is due as it's approaching these bigger emerging candles in this area. Mark some more. You said that 80 level. Once it's below 80, and it'll probably range trade there. Don't get me wrong. You're going to still have your bullish pop retracements and all that pullbacks, but definitely expect 80.80, 77.70, 75.50, and 71s for further retracements for what can make up a good trade opportunity. But yeah, I hope today's stream was helpful, guys. I did actually get to record it. I'm so sorry I have not been recording more of them. I really do need to stay on top of that. A lot of these past streams have been very kick-ass. I hope the future of them are continue to be the same way. And a big thing with what we do here is we don't just cover past pattern plays that we were in. We don't just cover new plays. We cover everything. So it really is awesome to kind of go back through and everyone track everything together. Therefore, we're kind of all growing together at the same time. Whether you take the play or not, doesn't matter. And the best thing you can do really is, like Kaizen gave a great example today, is start paper trading. And I'm not joking. Like it doesn't matter if you have a real account or not. That doesn't take you out of not being able to paper trade. Don't act like that. This is really good for you. Think of it as more practice, more hands-on practice without putting yourself at risk. So you're only going to take one, two of these swing trades each other day, but on your paper account you can take a lot of them and actually go back, study them. How much did your contract make? What happened? On the BB system. Let's say we were trading this right now and you were looking at your BB system. Of course you're going to be looking under your PML if you have puts. Of course you're going to be looking above your PMH if you have calls. So definitely go back and review. I'm not joking. The reviewing has definitely helped a lot of my more private members and that we've been kind of covering with. So I definitely want to see some more progression, a lot more of you. But I'm not joking, you have all been kicking ass, and I'm very glad to see all of you engaging this much because we have been kicking ass, and it seems like chat's got super active in just like 2 weeks of us streaming on this new stream schedule. So definitely glad to see all that happening. But here in a couple minutes, or 20 seconds, the market's about to close. Make sure to go vote in polls, and then I'm going to do the watch list review.